markets are showing a harsh correction and it's the worst period of the year. It's September, and how do we handle such a correction? How can we be positioned going into a very positive Q4? In this video, I'm going to explain which altcoins are going to be interesting to be bought up during those corrections, and I'm going to explain what my expectations are for the markets and which altcoins I'm going to be accumulating. Let's get started. Before we continue with this video, I'd like to ask you for a very small favor. We are continuously making content here with the altcoin portfolio, in which we did a long read on Twitter a few days ago as well. We continue to improve the content as much as we can do, but we can only do it if you become a subscriber to this YouTube channel, because that's going to accelerate us by improving everything, by increasing the team, by improving the podcast. So make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, and I'll make sure to continue to provide the best content out there. Well, first of all, Ethereum has been going great last Friday. We had the Fed coming around saying that it's time to have rate cuts. And all of a sudden, we made a new all-time high for Ethereum. Ethereum rallied with more than 20% in basically 2 hours. And it has been giving it immediately back. And the reason for that is that it's just an event that has no actual impact at all. The fact that Jerome Powell has been saying it is super positive for the markets, but ultimately we don't have a rate cut as of yet. So it's basically an outlier in upwards volatility, which we've also been seeing with my altcoin portfolio, I guess like 2 or 3 weeks ago, where Omni went 3x due to an upbid listing, which gave it all back as well. And this is what we've seen. Ethereum has been making that run back up towards 5K or close to 5K. It made a new high above the previous resistance. It consolidated there for a few days. And then by definition, by losing this 4.8K level, it crashed all the way back down towards 4.3, which wasn't really fueled by anything. It was just fueled by liquidations taking place by people that were overly excited by the fact that there were likely going to be rate cuts, and then it inversed all the way back down. So now we are getting back into a neutral state in which we are likely going to be seeing some more downwards momentum. And I'll get to that at a later point in this video to show you based on TA why this is going to be happening. But quite often, August and September are a terrible period to be into the markets. And if we look at Bitcoin, then we can see that over the past 3 years, August has been terrible. We have seen red numbers, and combined, we have seen that September has been the worst month since the existence of Bitcoin. So in the recent years, we had bad months of August and then positive for September, which quite usually means that the end of August is negative. The first 1 to 2 weeks of September are negative, and then it inverses back up to close the month September in a positive way, after which we get a very strong Q4. The data shows us that September has yielded a negative result of 4%, while October, November, and December are combined super positive. October by 22%, while November has provided an upwards return of 46%, and December of 5%. So that in itself is showing us that it's currently the slowest period of the year, and it should be preparing us for the biggest period of the year, which means that there are a lot of opportunities to be getting into positions right now. And if we look at Bitcoin, before we get into the altcoins, Bitcoin in itself is showing a lot of weakness. And I've brought a TA that I post on Twitter, where you can see all the levels. In the middle of the screen, you can see that we've been printing a new all-time high, which was like a slight wick above the previous one, where liquidity was taken and it immediately inversed back down. Since that moment, Bitcoin constantly has been rejecting the previous support, which now became resistance, and it started to make lower highs and lower lows on the lower time frames, in which we recently have been going beneath 112K, resulting into a lot of downwards pressure on the altcoins. Ethereum is a little bit different story. As long as the trend remains downwards, it is very likely that we continue to fall. What are the levels? We could assume that anything between 100 to 103k is the area that we could be looking for. On the flip side, once it starts to crack the level of 112k and gets back to 116, those are triggers that we can start seeing a reversal starting to take place. But before that happens, we want to be positioned entirely into altcoins. And that is why I've brought up some interesting altcoins that you should be looking at if you want to utilize this correction. This is not just another crypto event. This is where we improve your game. On September the 18th, I'm partnering up with OKX to host an exclusive crypto trading masterclass in Amsterdam. Whether you are a beginner, whether you are an experienced trader, this is where you will learn everything to improve your own game. This is what you're going to get. You're going to get a 1-hour masterclass by me with my trading strategy and my experience in the markets. We're going to do a Q&A where you can ask all the questions that you have to improve your game. And we're doing an OKX live demo of all the advanced tools that the platform can give to you as a trader. And of course, you're going to network with like-minded people, and we're going to provide food and drinks to make it a great evening. Only 120 spots. It's completely free. It's one night of exclusive content and information that you need to use. Make sure to sign up today to OKX and be part of this exclusive event. The best altcoins to be getting into are the ones that have been showing strength and the ones that have been showing some hype. And there are a few out there that you don't even need to go all the way on the risk curve to get yourself into. And that's why in this part of the video, we're not really going into smaller altcoins, which we quite usually do with altcoin portfolio, but we're diving into bigger ones that most likely give you a very positive return. And especially if Bitcoin is likely going to have a correction way deeper than what we have right now, the best position to get yourself in would be ETH. Ethereum is a higher beta play. Bitcoin is down 7% during this month. Ethereum is up more than 20% during this month. Which shows the upside that we can have with the markets in general. So if we look at Ether against USDT, then I'm going to add the 20 weekly EMA. And I'm also going to do that on the daily time frame to show you that we are on the edge of having that correction. So if we look at the daily time frame first, then the 20 EMA is currently the one that we are resting on. It's a very important moving indicator, moving average to look at. And as long as we stay above that one, the trend is going to stay up. But the moment we lose it is where we start to have a big liquidity crash. And by definition, the markets are going to get back towards the EMA at some point in time. So what you need to look out for with Ethereum is that once we start to lose this EMA, whether it is in the coming few days, whether it is in the coming 1 to 2 weeks, then the next level that we should be looking at is the one on the weekly time frame, which is currently at 3.4k. Also in previous bull runs, you can see that it quite often comes back towards the 20 EMA and starts moving around it. In this case, in the coming few weeks, I wouldn't be surprised that if we dip, that we get back towards those regions. And therefore, you need to be looking out for Ethereum around 3.5 to 3.9k as an optimal position to get yourself in before we're going to print new all-time highs, and maybe we're going to get into 5-digit land for Ether. And the same can be said for ETH against Bitcoin. It is super strong, but at this point we are making a super strong bearish divergence on the daily time frame, indicating that we are on the edge of having a bigger correction and that we should be accumulating when there is a 20 to 30% correction on Ethereum taking place. That is about ETH. And then when we talk about ETH, we also have other altcoins that are very likely going to do better than Ethereum is doing. And one of them has just recently announced their strategic reserve or their treasury that they are activating, which is Link, which has been outperforming Ethereum in the previous period. And the same theory can be said here. We've had a run from $15 all the way towards 28, we started to have some corrections taking place. It's currently landing on the 20 EMA, but it's not really showing a lot of strength, which implies that we're going to have a deeper correction taking place towards the EMA on a weekly time frame, and that should result into an area between $20 to $21 that Link is likely going to go to, which is a great area to accumulate before it's going to get towards the all-time high land. And the same can be said for the Bitcoin pair, which basically for the first time in 4 years is likely to start a big upwards trend. And then you just want to be buying the dips on the higher lows. Finally, one that I think is super interesting is SUI, which is currently already beneath the 20 EMA. The same can be said for Tau. They are showing a lot of weakness. But given that SUI is one ecosystem that constantly is growing at this point, we need to be looking out for opportunities for SUI in the sense that if we get in the lower ranges of or the lower areas of this range, we should be accumulating a position, because I believe that once the markets are going to rotate back up, the markets are going to be fueling the ones that have been showing strength, which are going to have a V-shaped bounce back up. So if we get the opportunity to buy lower, for instance with SUI or with Chainlink, we should be aware of that fact. And I think it's a crucial one to add to those positions instead of going extremely on the risk curve, because these coins, if they get towards, for instance, at $2.80, can yield a return that's way higher than the average in just a very short window. The markets aren't going up in a straight line. They are going in waves, and August and September are usually a very bad period for the markets. And that doesn't mean that you need to scale out of positions. I'm not scaling out of my altcoin positions. I think that the upside is still way bigger, especially since the fact that Q4 is coming up and that's going to be super positive. So I wouldn't be advising to sell everything in one go. You can start playing around, but ultimately I think it would be great to just add through cash into the positions that you already have, or you add by the ones that I've been discussing. I expect a very positive end of the year for 2025. I also assume that we're going to have a significantly longer bull market than just these 3 months, because there's just no retail interest as of yet. And ultimately, I think that these 3 altcoins, if we get a deeper correction, are going to yield a great return in a very short window of time, which is going to be great if you get yourself positioned into those. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again on the next update on Sunday. Ciao!